All right, so tell me about the new project.
Well, the new album is called Love, Sex, and Passion. It'll be available in stores on February 17th. The pre-order is available now, um, and it's been great. The feedback's been great. I feel like it's some of my best body of work to date. This is actually my fifth album.
Fifth album.
I got a gang of mixtapes out, man. Almost 20 tapes. So, in between all of that, as far as major releases, this will be my fifth major release. My second release as a major independent, recording artist.
Why did you decide to go with eOne, on this project?
Um, I feel, I've been being courted by Allen and them for some time now. I felt like that it would be a great opportunity to see what they could do. It always kind of stuck out in my mind. He was one of the few record execs that actually came to see me in DC, came to see what I had going on, over the last couple of years. And it actually came in a snowstorm. So I just thought that was just kind of impressive. It always kind of stood out in my mind. So I kind of had it already in the back of my mind at some point that I was going to do business with, with him and eOne at some point in my career, It's been promising thus far, I know that they're usually used to kind of do, one hit 'em and quit 'em as far as like, one single kind of situations, per project. But I think the music is so great, and myself and my team, we come to the table with such a great plan that we may be, one of the few artists on the brand that gets to a second or third single.
Now, I mean, you were originally with Jive Records.
Yeah, I was originally with Jive. I was signed there over 10 years.
Okay, so what made you leave Jive and go a different direction?
Um, Actually, the major record companies like a Jive, for example, they don't just let you go. So I actually found a loophole, business wise, that allowed me to get out of the contract. I was able to get them an ultimatum. They weren't able to meet it, or they didn't want to meet it, and hence I was able to be released from my contract. So it's kind of like great situation for me, and I wouldn't I don't have any regrets, what I'm saying, as far as ever being there. It was a great experience. I knew what I was getting into before I even before I signed the deal. So it definitely was great. It helped build my career, and in the end, it's kind of good for me. I still very consistent artist right now, and to have the following, that they allowed to help, they assisted in me getting. I think it's just great.
I'd worked at a major label before. I was at SRC Records, and I know that these contracts are like, massive contracts with all types of different clauses. Like, how did you actually find a loophole in a major label contract like that?
Well, I guess I do what most artists don't, is read my contracts. You know what I mean? Read my contracts, have a had a great attorney, lawyer at the time, and that was pretty much it, man. Like, it was. Let me say this: when I first came in the game, I came in at a time where, the business was declining, and they didn't really know how they were going to market and package stuff. I remember, the exec Peter Thea telling me at the time, like, man, had we signed you like, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you'd probably be an artist, a multi-platinum selling artist, 5 million records sold, man, they really felt like I had that potential, Job being the staple that it was at the time and the staple that it is now as RCA. So, but it became a thing, like, I was going into my fourth album cycle, and the amount of money that they would have had to spend and that type of thing, like committed on paper, they would have to spend, close to $1 million, you know what I'm saying? Which I felt like I was worth that and more. So then it became a thing of like, yo, can you do the album for this versus doing it for that? And it was like, I could do it for probably 50,000 if I needed to, but you know what I mean? Like I wanted, I had things that I wanted to do and ideas, and at the end of the day, I wanted what I wanted what I was entitled to and what was in my agreement. So that's kind of where we started to bump heads, and it was a great situation for me to to get out, and when I did.
Who else is featured on the album?
It's not a lot of features on this album, man. I worked with Boney James again. I felt like the chemistry was so dope on the last album, we had to do it again. And I actually got a real cool record with featuring Trombone Shorty. I picked them two in particular because I don't think anybody would see that coming. And just like, I'm working with more instrumentalists and stuff of that nature now. I did a lot of features over my career, whether it be for, other artists or, if you talk about my 2010 album, which was nominated for a Grammy, R&B Album of the Year, I had a lot of features on that album. Dr. Cornel West and Jill Scott, Anthony Hamilton, and Ledisi and Algebra and Wale and Luda, and you know what I'm saying? So I had a lot of features,